News out that Kelvin Joseph reported to practice today or to the voluntary training practice today. And also, Jean-Jacques Taylor, he wrote a piece on Kelvin Joseph on why the Cowboys should remove Boss Man Fat, a.k.a. Kelvin Joseph. Now, I get it. It's a sad, tragic situation that happened. And, of course, Kelvin Joseph should be responsible enough to report everything to the police, right? And that's the reality of it. You don't get into fights and not report it, right? You don't get into shootouts and not report it, right? So it's a thin line between street cred versus professionalism, and he didn't show a level of professionalism. Now, I'm not finna say, well, he was in the vehicle, he was probably high out of his mind, who knows, inebriated, that's a better way to say it. And when all of that stuff went down, yes, the shooting occurred. Those boys, I don't know if they watched the news, they pay attention to the news, but it could have been drive-by shooting in the air, and he could have told his lawyer or his mind set to say, hey, I didn't know whether or not the bullet struck the kid. That could have been his angle, right? And when it was time for it to all hit the fan, and then all of the news hit up, and then they said, hey, you know what? That guy passed away. Somebody gonna have to fall on the sword for this. And I'm not saying that Kelvin Joseph is innocent, right? I'm not saying that he's guilty either. But it's a bad look regardless of how you look at it and regardless how you slice it. And you are known by the company you keep. And of course, in that article, he broke down the fact that, yeah, the Cowboys took a risk at Greg Hardy, who threw his said fiance on a bed of guns, or girlfriend at the time. Sad, sad antics. The Cowboys tend to look for something and hope that they can squeeze greatness out of it. And he went into details of the storyline of Kelvin Joseph last year, saying that he showed a level of immaturity. When you ask people around Cowboys area there, the trainers, they said, hey, this dude, he don't bring forth a lot of efforts, right? Everybody else trying to claw and get there. So should the Cowboys cut bait with Kelvin Joseph and look at this thing and say, hey, this right here, the final straw. This should be a learning moment for us. This should be a wake-up call for the Cowboys to draft better. Now, I must tell you guys that's watching right now, the Jones family in general, if they do decide to cut Kelvin Joseph, it'll be a first. It'll flat out be a first. They are normally the organization that look at things like this and say, we can rehabilitate him. We can fix it. Fix it. We can fix it. Give this man multiple chances. Give this man multiple tries. And if anybody, the Jones family will look right into that and say to themselves, hey, I don't deserve to own this team, or I don't deserve to be in the position I am, but somebody looked after me, right? And that's what they're about. It's all about taking risks, and they for dog sure would not fall on the sword and say, hey, we were wrong about this guy. No. It goes all the way to Josh Brent, who was under the influences and fooled around and wrecked his car or what have you. I believe that's how the storyline went. And Jerry Brown was in the car with him, who passed away. The Cowboys didn't bat an eye. They said, okay, come back. We will rehabilitate you. David Irvin's situation, who was knucklehead in most parts of things, right? Challenging everything. And, of course, we know how that went. Brought him back multiple times until he was not able to come back for the team. Theme of this conversation can go on and on and on and on and on. The Cowboys do what they want to do, and they give multiple second, third, and fourth chances to players. They do. And even if you really look into the Randy Gregory situation and scenario. Most teams, before he had his last season with the Cowboys, would have gave him the boot. So the Cowboys is the land of opportunities for second and third chances. That's just how it all goes. I'm just surprised over the course of the years that they never gave Josh Gordon a chance, right? The other guy who had his hiccups with life, And that's just how it is. Some players that they fall in love with, man, they fall in love with. And nothing you can do. I'm surprised that they never brought in Johnny Manziel for a cup of coffee to be on the bench. They brought in Ryan Leaf. You guys remember what he was doing out there? So there are so many things to look at. All I can tell you guys right now is don't let this distract you. If the Cowboys keep Kelvin Joseph, they may see something that we don't see. And maybe this will be the person that could turn the corner around. Now, when you read the article of what Jean-Jacques Taylor wrote, it do go into details of this guy, not even the first, second, or third DB. He's the fourth DB on the roster. And they hoping that they can squeeze him in to compete to be the second DB and see if he can beat out Anthony Brown. See if he can beat out the other DBs that's in front of him. So time will tell it all. Now, should the Cowboys picked up Asante Samuel Jr., hindsight 2020, someone can yell out, yeah. They was yelling out, yeah, before that time frame. And the ceiling and everything else. Who would have had the higher ceiling? Some can argue with that, right? Asante, man, he can play. He's a clean, level-headed guy. The father played in the National Football League. Can give him wisdom and advice that can carry on a long way. Hoping and praying is what you got out of Kelvin Joseph, right? So it is what it is at this time. The news is very, very, very disturbing to those who look at it like, man, come on, Cowboys. Are y'all about winning, or are the Cowboys about rehabilitating players? I don't know, man. Should the Cowboys get rid of Kelvin Joseph at this point? If you do, you might as well wait until after the draft, right? If you do, you might as well wait and give that man a short leash after training camp and OTAs. That's just the reality of it. Now, from a stance of what you can look at this thing and say, hey, technically, has he been arrested? And would we love for that night not to happen? Yes. We would love for that night not to happen, right? We would love for him to make better and proper decisions. And all we can do now is sit back and wait. Oh, I recall they did the same for Adam Patman Jones and some more other knuckleheads, right? So we'll find out what would be the proper way for the Cowboys to do in their minds, right? But we're not that hard-nosed team where it's you won and done. Like, you won situation and you're out. It's not the way the Cowboys roll. Let me know of your thoughts. Let me know of your concerns. That's my thoughts on everything. I feel that the Cowboys should wait this out, go through the draft, go through OTAs and training camp. And then if he got any hiccups from here, you let him go, right? There was a movie that I watched, Coach Carter. And in that movie, one of the better players on their team, he was a light-skinned kid with the afro, I forgot his name. But Coach Carter kept asking him, who was in gang violence, going in and out of gang violence. I think one day they shot up something and he finally got away. But Coach Carter asked him, what is your deepest fear? And the guy never responded. Every day he said, what is your deepest fear? Look him right in his eyes. What is your deepest fear? What is your deepest fear? And then one day, the young gentleman, I believe after an important game, he said, our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frighten us, So we'll find out, man, what is Kelvin Joseph's deepest fear. What is his deepest fear? That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. DC for life.